Wesley Snipes has made a name for himself as an incredible action star, in demand for his skill set in acting and martial arts. But he was soon out of demand once word got around of his on-set actions while working on Blade 3. But long before that, there were already some pretty major accusations connected to his name. Halle Berry shared in a 1996 interview with People that she has experienced unkind romantic partners in the past. She claimed that one former partner had caused her to go about 80% deaf in one ear, and many believe it was Snipes. Berry has never confirmed who the partner was, but one of Berry's former exes tweeted out that she had told him that it was Snipes. However, this should be looked at with a critical eye since that ex in question was also accused of harming Berry. Snipes and Berry dated in 1990 for a short period after working together on Jungle Fever. When Berry was filming Strictly Business while dating Snipes, a production assistant claimed she was crying all the time. So no matter what happened between Snipes and Berry, the relationship was not a good look for him. It came out later that he can be equally as hard to work with on set. While working on Blade 3 alongside Ryan Reynolds, Snipes allegedly stayed in the Blade character the whole time. Reynolds is of course a known jokester, so that, mixed in with the stoic nature of Blade, is hilarious on screen, but wasn't so hilarious in person. It probably didn't cause too many problems though, since Snipes was allegedly rarely on set. They allegedly let Reynolds improv a lot in the film simply because his scene partner wasn't there. Snipes also allegedly only communicated with the director via post-it notes. All this definitely led to an interesting movie. Sondra Locke's career in the 70s was huge, and she wasn't just an actress but a director too. She starred in films alongside Clint Eastwood, and the pair hit it off and dated for quite a while. Unfortunately, the pair would break up in 1989, and the aftermath dragged on for a few years, leading to disaster for Locke's career. Eastwood had more pull in Hollywood than Locke did. Soon Locke wasn't getting much work. While it has never been confirmed, many people, including Locke, believe that Eastwood had a hand in this unofficial blacklisting, because after the breakup, her working life went up in flames and his was completely fine. It wouldn't come out until years later that Locke wasn't the only woman Eastwood had allegedly mistreated. Before dating Locke, Eastwood was married to Maggie Johnson, and according to Eastwood's friend, Fritz Maines, he didn't treat her very well. In the book, Clint, The Life and Legend, there is a quote from Maines about how Eastwood mistreated his wife one time, knocked her clear from the living room into the tub in the bathroom is what it reads. Eastwood denies these claims, and him and Johnson are apparently still friends, actually, and celebrated holidays together years later according to their children, so do with this info what you will. Charlie Sheen, who you may know from 2.5 Men, has a confirmed history of not being very nice to his partners. Actress Denise Richards let us know who this man is a long time ago. In May of 2006, she filed a restraining order against her husband, Charlie Sheen. The pair had 2 young children together, and according to the order, Sheen could only see the children if it was a supervised visit. Otherwise, he had to stay 300 yards away from them and their mother, Denise Richards, at all times. The reason Richards had to get the restraining order in the first place was because Sheen allegedly said some violent things to her and handled her roughly. Similar situations would happen later on in Sheen's career with different women. Isaiah Washington had all the potential to make it big until he made some controversial public comments and threw it all away. Washington starred as Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy. He also had a number of film credits under his belt before that. Then, as he was filming the drama, everything went wrong. According to the book by Lynette Rice, How to Save a Life, the inside story of Grey's Anatomy, a fight between Washington and Patrick Dempsey broke out on set, causing the domino effect that led to Washington's firing. According to interviews in the book, one of the men was late to set one day, so the next day, the other decided to get payback and be late. Tensions got high, and soon the 2 men were brawling in studio. Washington apparently pushed Dempsey up against a wall and began shouting in his face, and it wasn't until Washington used a negative term to describe gay people that the fight stopped. The word was used in context of another actor in the show who was known to be gay. Washington ended up apologizing, but then used the word again at the Golden Globes. One of his co-stars, Katherine Heigl, spoke about this as her friend was the person being called names. She said, "I'm going to be really honest right now, he needs to just not speak in public." I mean, every time he did at the time, it just made everything worse, so was she really wrong? Even years later, Washington is using his voice to advocate for causes he believes in, but every once in a while he says something that completely misses the mark. That, or he's bringing up his departure from the show again. Jennette McCurdy dropped some info about Ariana Grande in her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Jennette and Ariana work on the Nickelodeon show Sam and Cat together. It was supposed to be a hit. However, right as they were filming season 1, Ariana's music career started to take off, and suddenly she wasn't on set much. McCurdy's book details how Grande used to regularly miss filming. According to the book, Ariana was missing filming to go sing at award shows, record new songs, and do press for her upcoming album, while, in her own words, McCurdy said she had to angrily hold down the fort. McCurdy does admit that a lot of her ill will towards Ariana was rooted in jealousy. She was jealous of the fact that Ariana was able to miss filming and McCurdy hadn't had the same opportunity to do this when she had asked in the past. McCurdy writes that she had to turn down 2 features she had booked while working on iCarly because the team for the show wouldn't write her out of the episodes so she could film the features, whereas Grande would sometimes miss up to a week at a time. Rebecca Ferguson caught the attention of internet sleuths when she tried to warn us about a former co-star. Ferguson revealed that she was once screamed at on set by an unnamed but famous actor. Fans were quick to scour her past films and point fingers. Many fingers were directed at Hugh Grant. TV host and actor Jon Stewart did let us know that Grant's on-set behavior wasn't the nicest in a 2012 interview. Stewart said the actor would never be welcome back on the show that he had been working for at the time. He also said Grant was giving everyone grief the whole time and he's a big pain. Grant himself has actually admitted to on-set tantrums. In an interview with Total Film magazine, Grant admitted that while on the set of the new movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, he lost his temper with a woman in his eye line on the first day of filming. He said, I assumed she was some executive from the studio who should have known better. Then it turns out that she's an extremely nice local woman who was the chaperone of the young girl. Terrible, a lot of groveling. We don't know if Grant is the one who yelled at Ferguson, but Grant himself has admitted that Renee Zellweger is one of the few actresses he hasn't fallen out with, so there is that. The iconic photo of Nicole Kidman walking out of the courthouse after divorcing Tom Cruise. It's a meme, need I say more, it just has a feeling attached to it. I don't think I have ever seen someone look so free and happy to be alive. Tom, what did you do to warrant this level of joy at being divorced? Apparently, at the time, Kidman thought everything was going well with their marriage. They had 2 adopted children, so when she got the divorce papers, she was shocked. Cruise said it was due to irreconcilable differences, but Kidman later told People our life together was perfect. Kidman did continue saying, that was a great relationship, I think it ran its course. She hasn't shared much about the marriage, stating that it helped her feel safer in Hollywood. No one would dare cross such a big star by hurting his wife. And the 11 years that they were married were important for them and their kids. The Don't Worry Darling press tour, it was the gift that kept on giving. What do you mean Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine? What do you mean the lead actress allegedly had a feud with the director? Florence Pugh was pretty absent during the film's premiere at the Venice Film Festival, but she did make a red carpet appearance, notably staying away from the film's director and her co-star Olivia Wilde. While Florence hadn't gone on record explicitly saying anything, her silence was just as loud. Pugh seems super excited about the project when she first signed on, posting multiple times online expressing this, but when it came time to promote the film, she barely said anything. If she did, she almost always left Olivia Wilde out of the conversation. The few times Pugh had spoken about the film, it seemed like she was contradicting something Wilde said. A big sore spot that came up even before filming started was around the casting of Shia LaBeouf. LaBeouf had been accused of quite a few bad things by ex-FKA twigs, and Florence allegedly did not feel comfortable working with him. At first, Olivia came out saying that she agreed and that's why he was fired. However, LaBeouf came forward and basically said Olivia was lying, sharing screenshots and a video from Wilde that made it seem like she was actually on his side. Around when these got released, Florence confirmed she would not be promoting the film with Wilde. There was also this rumor floating around for a while that Florence allegedly took on more directorial duties during filming, as Wilde was preoccupied with Harry Styles. That is yet to be, and probably never will be, confirmed. James Franco has found himself in hot water as 5 women have come forward accusing him of inappropriate misconduct, but we should have seen this coming if his past behavior on film in TV sets is anything to go by. Busy Phillips let us know the kind of person James Franco is from the beginning. The two worked together on the 1999 TV series Freaks and Geeks, and apparently neither enjoyed it. Busy claims Franco acted like a bully on set and once shoved her to the ground. Allegedly, while filming a scene where Busy lightly hit Franco on the chest, Franco, not in character anymore, grabbed Busy, screamed in her face, and then threw her to the ground. Allegedly, he was forced to apologize by the directors and producers, but not a good look for him. And finally, we have Patrick Stewart warning us about James Corden years before Corden was cancelled. It's no secret that the talk show host is no longer as loved as he once was, partly due to oversaturation of media, but also due to stories about the way he behaves when the cameras are off. Today, we have heard stories of Corden screaming at restaurant staff and acting in a rude manner, but Patrick Stewart called out Corden for this behavior a long time ago at the 2010 Glamour Awards. Corden was hosting the event, and according to Stewart, he wasn't doing a good job. As Stewart went up to present an award, he turned to Corden and basically told him to get his hands out of his pockets and look interested. Corden did answer that in the moment, saying, "Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong, genuinely. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry, but when you come up and present an award, just get on with it." The tone he used wasn't super nice, so Stewart did retaliate, and then it just got awkward. But years later, Corden has found himself on celebrity hate lists for similar behavior to this, so Stewart called it. Rebel Wilson's book, Rebel Rising, was released this year and caused quite a stir when it exposed some new information about an already controversial figure. Wilson held absolutely nothing back when she titled a chapter, Sacha Baron Cohen and Other A-Holes. The pair worked together on the 2016 film Grimsby, and Wilson claims it was not a fun experience. The actress claims Cohen humiliated her on set and in the film, something Cohen has reportedly denied. Apparently, Wilson had a no nudity clause in her contract, and yet Cohen would ask if she wanted to do it frequently. Upon returning for reshoots, the actress says she felt disrespected while there, so much so that when the movie did come out, she almost did nothing to promote it and has allegedly never even seen it. This isn't the first time a controversy has been attached to Cohen's name. He's actually known for quite a few, but a major one was the incident with the ashes he threw on the red carpet one year. Isaiah Washington had so much Hollywood potential, but then he made some controversial public comments and threw it all away. You probably know Washington from Grey's Anatomy, where he starred as Dr. Preston Burke. Well, that's the show where everything went wrong. According to the book by Lynette Rice, How to Save a Life, the inside story of Grey's Anatomy, a fight between Washington and Patrick Dempsey broke out on set, causing the domino effect that led to Washington's firing. According to interviews in the book, one of the men was late to set one day, so the next day, the other decided to get him back and be late. Tensions got really high, and soon the two men were brawling in studio. Washington allegedly pushed Dempsey up against a wall and began shouting in his face, and that's bad, but it wasn't until Washington used a negative term to describe gay people that the fight stopped. The word was used in context of another actor on the show who was known to be gay. Washington ended up apologizing, but then for some reason used the word again at the Golden Globes. One of his co-stars, Katherine Heigl, spoke about this as her friend was the person being called names. She said, "I'm going to be really honest right now, he needs to just not speak in public." Is she wrong? Every time he opened his mouth at this time, it just got worse. Years later, Washington is still using his voice to advocate for causes he believes in, but every once in a while says something that completely misses the mark. That, or he is bringing up his departure from the show again. Megan Fox and Lindsay Lohan worked together for the iconic early 2000s movie Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Their confessions that came out after the film painted an interesting picture. Apparently, Fox and Lohan did not get along, but Fox attributes that more to their ages than anything else. A few years post-film release, Fox went on record saying that the two women might get along better now that they were older. Lohan has given her reason why she was once angry with Fox during filming. Megan was allowed to get a spray tan, again, and Lindsay wasn't, and that made her quite jealous. Charlie Sheen, who you may know from 2.5 Men, has a confirmed history of not being nice to his partners. Actress Denise Richards is another example of the man's terrible pattern. The pair worked together on 2.5 Men, fell in love, got married, and started a family. However, things changed in May of 2006. Richards filed a restraining order against Sheen. According to the order, Sheen could only see their family if it was a supervised visit, otherwise he had to stay 300 yards away from them at all times. The reason Richards had to get the restraining order in the first place was because Sheen allegedly said some violent things to her and handled her roughly. Similar situations would happen later on in Sheen's career with different women. She would also gain public attention by making odd claims and statements. Eventually, he was let go from the CBS show. Jennette McCurdy co-starred with Ariana Grande on Nickelodeon's show Sam and Cat based on their characters from other popular Nick shows. Again, these two did not always see eye to eye on set, sometimes not even seeing each other for a week. McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, dropped in 2022 and dropped some major info about Ariana along with it. According to the book, as Sam and Cat was in its first bit of filming, Ariana's music career started taking off, leading to Ariana suddenly not being around as much, leaving McCurdy to start picking up the slack. McCurdy's book details how Grande used to regularly miss filming. According to the book, Ariana was missing filming to go sing at award shows, record new songs, and do press for her upcoming album. While in McCurdy's words, she had to angrily hold down the fort. McCurdy does admit that a lot of her ill will towards Ariana was rooted in jealousy. Jealous that Ariana was able to miss so much filming, but McCurdy hadn't had the opportunity to do that when she had asked in the past. McCurdy writes that she had had to turn down 2 features she had booked while working on iCarly because the team for the show would not write her out of the episodes so she could film the movies, whereas Grande would sometimes miss a week at a time. Rebecca Ferguson caught the attention of pretty much the entire internet when she shared in an interview that she had once been yelled at by a co-star years ago. Almost immediately after this interview dropped, the entire internet was scouring Ferguson's movie credits trying to figure out who this person was that yelled at the Dune star. It's been a few months since and people have decided that the actor in question is Hugh Grant. Ferguson still has not confirmed exactly who she was talking about, but people are looking at what other Grant co-stars have said about working with him, and it doesn't make him look good. TV host and actor Jon Stewart claims Grant's on-set behavior wasn't the nicest in a 2012 interview, going so far as to say the actor would never be welcomed back on the show he had been working for at the time. He also said Grant was giving everyone grief the whole time and he's a big pain. Hugh Grant has admitted to acting rudely on a set. In an interview with Total Film magazine, Grant shared that while on the set of the movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, he lost his temper with a woman in his eyeline. He says that he thought she was someone that should have known where to be on set, but in reality it was the chaperone for the young girl on the movie, meaning that woman was just a nice local woman. He said that the incident was terrible and there was a lot of groveling. We know he yelled at this woman, but we don't know for sure if Grant is the one that yelled at Ferguson, but Grant has admitted himself that Renee Zellweger is one of the few actresses he hasn't fallen out with, so there is that. One of the biggest ongoing Hollywood feuds is between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Vin Diesel. Those two absolutely do not get along. It seems they might be doing better now, but there was once a time when the two men were hurling insults at each other and not appearing in any scenes together in movies they co-starred in. It might have something to do with Diesel giving out unwanted acting advice, claiming that he used a tough love approach to get Johnson's performance to the place it needed to be, something Johnson claims he laughed at. Johnson has shared that him and Diesel have a fundamental difference in philosophies on how they approach movie making and collaborating, and that is what is causing all the trouble. No matter what is causing the long-standing feud, the two men, they're not good friends. Busy Phillips is one of the many actresses to expose co-star James Franco for his rude on-set behavior. The two worked together on the 1999 TV series Freaks and Geeks, and apparently it was awful. Busy claims Franco Franco acted like a bully on set and once shoved her to the ground. Allegedly, while filming a scene where Busy was directed to lightly hit Franco on the chest, Franco, not in character anymore, grabbed Busy, screamed in her face, and then threw her to the ground. Allegedly, he was forced to apologize by the directors and producers. The incident with Phillips isn't the only terrible thing the actor has been accused of. 5 women have come forward accusing him of inappropriate misconduct. Franco is definitely in some hot water. Vanessa Marquez is known for her role in ER, where she starred alongside George Clooney. Vanessa was on the show for only 3 of the 15 seasons, and she claims Clooney had something to do with her being let go from the show and written off. Vanessa would go on to accuse Clooney of having a hand in blacklisting her from not just the show, but Hollywood in general. Vanessa claims that George Clooney and other actors on the show had acted inappropriately towards her on set. Not necessarily saying that Clooney was the one doing it, she just named him and said that she experienced bad behavior every day while working on the show. Vanessa says she complained to someone about the on-set inappropriate actions and claims that that was the reason why she was fired from the show. George Clooney has directly acknowledged these accusations. In 2017, he said he had nothing to do with Vanessa being blacklisted and that he actually didn't even realize she was. And finally, the award for the most disastrous press tour goes to the Don't Worry Darling press tour. Truly, that tour could not have gone worse. Harry Styles was accused of spitting on his co-star Chris Pine, but even more serious, the lead of the movie, Florence Pugh, allegedly was in a feud with co-star and director of the film, Olivia Wilde. Florence Pugh was noticeably absent during the film's premiere at the Venice Film Festival. She did make a red carpet appearance, noticeably staying away from Olivia Wilde. Florence hasn't explicitly said anything, but her silence at the time was just as loud. Then there's also the matter of Pugh's attitude switch from when the film was first announced versus when it actually came out. Pugh seemed super excited about the project when she first signed on, posting about it online, praising Wilde. However, when it came time to promote the film, she barely said anything. Or if she did say something, she almost always left Olivia Wilde out of it. The few times Pugh had talked about the film, it seemed like she was contradicting something Wilde had said. A big point of conflict came even before filming started, surrounding the casting of Shia LaBeouf. LaBeouf had been accused of bad things by ex-FKA Twigs, and Florence allegedly did not feel comfortable working with him. At first, Olivia said she agreed, and that's why he was fired. However, LaBeouf came forward and pretty much said Olivia was lying, sharing screenshots and a video from Wilde that made it seem like she was actually on his side. Around when these got released, Florence confirmed she would not be promoting the film with Wilde. There was also this rumor floating around for a while that Florence allegedly took on a more directorial role during filming as Wilde was preoccupied with Harry Styles.
Kim and Khloe Kardashian are co-stars on their reality show, but more importantly, they're sisters who know how to fight with each other. Now, in one of the most recent episodes of The Kardashians, the sisters clashed over Khloe's parenting, with Kim suggesting that Khloe's 2 kids rule her life. Now, this came about after Khloe turned down a trip to Paris for Fashion Week because she wanted to be at home with her kids. Now, the episode also documented their family vacation to Aspen, which took place in January of this year. On the trip, Kim called out Khloe for FaceTiming her daughter during their group dinner. She said in a confessional, "Here we go again. She's just so stuck on what's going on at home that she can't have a good time." Now, a lot of people have called out Kim for mom shaming, but this isn't the first and certainly won't be the last time these sisters fight. Now, Charlie's Angels Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu reportedly got along incredibly well on set, but there was one problem: Bill Murray. Now, Lucy revealed on a 2021 episode of the Los Angeles Times Asian Enough podcast that Bill made unacceptable and inexcusable insults to her on set. I was like, wow, he seems like he's looking straight at me. I couldn't believe that his comments could be towards me, because what have I done to do with anything majorly important at the time? I say, I'm sorry, are you talking to me? And clearly he was, because then it became a one-on-one communication. Her response to the behavior though, she said, "I stood up for myself and I don't regret it. Because no matter how low on the totem pole you may be or whatever you came from, there's no need to condescend or to put other people down." Now, at the time of the film's release, Lucy was shocked by how the media framed the incident. What came out out in the press was that I was this and I was that, but now though, Lucy said she has nothing against her former co-star. I've even seen him since then at an SNL reunion, and he came up to me and was perfectly nice. Now this isn't too hard to believe though, as Bill doesn't have a reputation for being pleasant to work with. Now Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey worked together on Red Dawn, but it was just the beginning of their feud. Discussing the Shoot of the War film, Jennifer said, "Patrick was playing pranks on me and everybody. It was just like macho and I just couldn't take it." Jennifer didn't want to work with Swayze again after what she dealt with, and their relationship then threatened his chances of getting the lead role in Dirty Dancing opposite the already cast Jennifer. Now Patrick then apologized to Jennifer prior to his screen test for Dirty Dancing in hopes of making amends with the actress. Now he was hired, but their feud didn't end. In his autobiography, Patrick recalled how difficult Jennifer was to work with. He dished about her hypersensitive reactions to criticism, the silly moods she frequently found herself in, and how often she disrupted filming by not containing her laughter. He said, "When we're doing those dance sequences and everything, and she's crying and she's giggling, those moments really work because they're real." They just took pieces of Patrick and Jennifer working together as attempting to be a dance team, and my frustration. My real frustration. I'm trying to keep this girl serious, I'm trying to keep her from crying, trying to keep her focused, to get past her fear and her ego. Now, Meryl Streep and Dustin Hoffman played feuding exes in Kramer vs. Kramer, which seems similar to their off-screen dynamic. When Meryl first heard about the film, she was mourning the death of her boyfriend, fellow actor John Cazale, who died in 1978. Now, according to a 2016 book about her life, Her Again, Becoming Meryl Streep, Dustin slapped Meryl across the face, taunted her about the recent death of John, and even shattered a wine glass next to her without telling her. He was goading her and provoking her, said producer Richard Fiskoff, using stuff that he knew about her personal life and about John to get the response that he thought she should be giving in the performance. Now Meryl told the New York Times, "It was my first take in my first movie and he just slapped me." Now that wasn't the only time he mistreated her, as he threw a wine glass against a wall near her head, raised his voice, and criticized her. Now afterwards, Dustin tearfully blamed his inappropriate on-set behavior on his real-life divorce and partying with drugs, per his speech at the British Academy of Film and Television Arts in 2017. Now, it's unclear if the actors made up or not recently, but several years before Hoffman's speech, Meryl appeared on a 2000 episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, where she selected Hoffman as the kill response in a game of Kiss, Marry, and Kill. Desperate Housewives actor Nicolette Sheridan once went as far to call her co-star Terry Hatcher the meanest woman in the world, according to the show's writer Mark Cherry. Now, there's speculation that Nicolette wasn't the only star who didn't get on with Terry. In 2018, Felicity Huffman posted a tribute to the show online, complete with personalized messages to each of her former co-stars, with the exception of one person only, Terry. That same year, Ava Longoria appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and claimed that the stars were all still very good friends, before correcting herself with 99% of us are. Now, after the finale of the show aired and amid widespread rumors about the feud, Terry said to TV Guide, "I will never disclose the true and complicated journey of us all, but I wish everyone on the show well." When Joan Crawford died, Bette Davis coldly stated, "Joan Crawford is dead. Good." Now, the pair were huge stars in the 30s, 40s, and 50s who just happened to despise each other. Now, there were many reasons for their rivalry, including jealousy over a man and many attempts to undermine each other's careers. Now, despite their decades-long feud, they signed on to co-star in 1962's Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Now, this might not have been the best idea though. While shooting a scene where Betty's character beats Joan's, Bette was reported to have hit Joan so hard that she needed stitches. Later, it was said that Joan got revenge by wearing a wrestler's belt in a scene where Bette, who had back problems, was supposed to drag her across the floor. Now, the feud went on for years after that, and it was so well known that their story was made into a TV show. Some examples of them feuding was the release of Betty's film Ex-Lady was overshadowed by the news of Jones's divorce, and then there was the love triangle involving another actor, professional grievances, there were public and private jabs, and this was a rivalry that lasted until Joan's Ryan's death. Now, although these co-stars Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams eventually ended up dating, it wasn't love at first sight with the pair. The Notebook director Nick Cassavetes spoke about their feud in an interview, saying they were really not getting along one day on set, and Ryan came to me and he's doing a scene with Rachel and he says, "Would you take her out of here and bring in another actress to read off camera with me?" He says, I can't do it with her, I'm just not getting anything from this. Now, Ryan wasn't alone, as Rachel had the same feelings towards him. Eventually, the pair were sent away to sort out their differences. Nick said, "We went into a room with a producer, they started screaming and yelling at each other. I walked out," the director further revealed, adding that when they emerged from their fiery encounter, they announced, "Alright, let's do this," allowing the rest of the production to be smooth sailing. Hey, I guess sometimes you just gotta scream to let it out. Now, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis starred in 2 movies together, Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day. As Groundhog Day's producer Trevor Albert revealed in 2023 how the two had a tense relationship during filming, which ultimately led them to not speaking a word to each other for 21 years. They worked together 10 years prior on Ghostbusters, but their friendly relationship changed. Now, at the time of filming, Bill was not behaving in the best way, which led him to slip professionally. Now, per an explosive 2004 interview with Ramis in The New Yorker, the director revealed at times Bill was just really irrationally mean and unavailable. He was constantly late on set. "What I'd want to say to him is just what we tell our children. You don't have to throw tantrums to get what you want, just say what you want." It was unfortunate and probably made the movie considerably less fun to make, Albert said. But you can still make a very good movie when people are not in perfect harmony. The Vampire Diaries stars Nina Dobrev and Paul Wesley had a steamy on-air chemistry, but when they weren't being filmed, they pretty much hated each other for a while. "Nina is my really good friend now, we talk all the time, and it's true. When we first started shooting The Vampire Diaries, we totally clashed. Creatively, it just wasn't in sync," the actor told Entertainment Tonight. "We're basically driving each other insane, and then after a few seasons, we developed this absolute mutual love." Now, it was Nina who first revealed that the pair didn't see eye to eye when filming the teen drama, saying in June 2019 that the pair actually despised each other. "We really just didn't get along the first maybe 5 months of shooting. Now, thankfully though, they smoothed things over and they get along now and are friends." Despite being 2 of the 4 surviving cast members of the original Star Trek series, William Shatner and George Takei are still feuding. George previously told the New York Times that William was not a team player on set. He said, "The rest of the cast all understood what makes a scene work. It's everybody contributing to it, but Bill is a wonderful actor and he knows it, and he likes to have the camera on him all the time." Then in 2021, after George mocked Shatner's trip to space, he retaliated by telling Page Six, "There's a psychosis there must be something else inside George that's festering, and it makes him unhappy that he takes it out on me. Why would he go out of his way to denigrate me? It's sad, I feel nothing but pity for him." Emma Roberts' co-stars said she acted like a spoiled nepo baby on set when she refused to talk to extras and ordered other celebrities around. Now, one of the worst instances of this is what she did to her American Horror Story co-star, Angelica Ross. Angelica claimed that Emma could be a bully presence on set, once going as far as to misgender her in front of a director. Now, Angelica first spoke out about the alleged incident during an Instagram Live. "I'm standing in front of Emma talking to her like this, and she's in front of me, her back against the mirror. She goes, 'John, Angelica's being mean,' she claimed, seemingly referring to the American Horror Story director John J. Gray. Angelica claimed that Gray then said, 'Okay, ladies, you know that's enough. Let's get back to work.' Now, the actress continued saying that Emma then looks at me and she goes, 'Don't you mean lady?' Now, Angelica said that she feared retaliation if she reported the alleged incident. Angelica admitted that she no longer spoke to Emma after the alleged on-set encounter. Then there's Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner comes from one of the most famous families in the world, and this has brought her a lot of opportunities. She made her debut at number 16 on Forbes magazine's 2015 list of top earning models, with an estimated annual income of $4 million. Now, in 2017, Kendall was named the world's highest paid model by Forbes, which caused some controversy to say the least. Now, after this, in an interview she did in 2018 went viral due to her working comments. She said she she was never one of those girls who would do like 30 shows a season or whatever those girls do. More power to them, but I had a million jobs, not only catwalks, but everything else. Now these comments made many people angry, including fellow models. Model Janita Lapina shared a screenshot of Kendall's quote with her take, saying, "We are all hardworking and worked hard to be where we are. Nothing was given to us," she wrote. Now Lapina also posted an Instagram story of herself during a shoot, writing, "I gotta work," with the hashtag I'm not Kardashian. Moving on to Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Spears didn't get her fame from her parents, but from her sister Britney Spears. In February 2002, at age 11, Jamie Lynn made her acting debut in the Paramount Pictures drama film Crossroads, which starred her sister, Britney Spears. Now following this, she got her own Nickelodeon show, which was ultimately cancelled after she got pregnant. Now in July 2021, Worthy Publishing announced her plans to release a memoir, releasing a statement saying, "Jamie Lynn's book has been in development for the past 12 months and will allow the world to hear her inspiring stories in her own words for the first time." Now her memoir, entitled Things I Should Have Said, Family, Fame, and Figuring It Out, was released on January 18th, 2022, but it appeared that Jamie Lynn used her sister Britney Spears' highly publicized struggles in conservatorship to promote her new book, which is just disgusting. Now Britney actually called her out for this. On Instagram, she made a post with the caption, "The two things that did bother me that my sister said was how my behavior was out of control. She was never around me much 15 years ago at that time, so why are you even talking about that unless she wants to sell a book at my expense?" Next up is Alyssa Milano. In a long-standing TV feud, Charmed co-stars Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano decidedly did not get along. "I think I cried every single night of season 2, Shannon once told Entertainment Tonight, adding that their competitiveness got the best of them. Now in an episode of Shannon's podcast, their third co-star, actress Holly Marie Combs, finally revealed what happened before Shannon left the show. "We were told by Alyssa it's her or Shannon, and Alyssa has threatened to sue us for a hostile workplace environment." Holly then went on to say that Alyssa had footage of what made her feel uncomfortable and that she wouldn't be afraid to use it. Now Shannon was then let go of the show, while Holly was seemingly coerced to continue despite not wanting to. "They forced me to go back to a show I wanted nothing to do with," she admitted. Now this wasn't the only issue though, as during a Twitter feud with Alyssa, another co-star, Rose McGowan, tweeted, "You threw a fit in front of the crew, yelling, 'They don't pay me enough to do this appalling behavior on the daily. I cried every time we got renewed because you made that set toxic AF.'" Then there's Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland is the son of Donald Sutherland and Shirley Douglas, who were both successful Canadian actors. Now Kiefer is a successful actor now, but not all of his co-stars have love for him. In 2010, Freddie Prinze Jr. joined Kiefer's action series 24, and then he gave an interview about his time on the show a few years later, and he didn't have anything positive to say about the star. Freddie said that Kiefer was unprofessional and that he hated every moment of working with him. Now it turns out that Kiefer was more than a little unprofessional while filming their scenes together. As Freddie says, "That's not me talking trash, I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I just sort of stopped," Freddie continued in the interview. Yikes. Now imagine being so horrible on set that your co-star quit their profession. That is just so messed up. On to Lottie Moss. Lottie Moss is a model who, through her father, is the younger half-sister of model Kate Moss, and that's how she's garnered her fame. Now she had a modeling career as a teen and she now does OF, but it seems like she hasn't put two and two together in terms of people who don't have those advantages being resentful of those who do. Now amid the conversation about the Nepo baby backlash, Lottie took to Twitter not to defend herself or her fellow Nepo babies, but to attack regular people. She said, "I'm so sick of people blaming nepotism for why they aren't rich and famous or successful. Obviously, it's not fair that people who come from famous families are getting a leg up because of that, but guess what? Life isn't fair. If you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. So instead of being negative about other people's success, go and try to create your own." Now, according to The Insider, Kate finds it all highly embarrassing and would rather not be associated with her. Dakota Johnson was born to actors Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith and followed in her parents' footsteps. Now, her recent movie Madam Web came out and it was just horrible and was met with a lot of criticism. Now, Dakota openly criticized the film as well, but it seems like fellow actor Russell Crowe had a problem with her expressing how she felt, and he has called her out. He said, "You're telling me you signed up for a Marvel movie and some effing universe for cartoon characters, and you didn't get enough pathos," he said in a recent interview with GQ UK. "Not quite sure how I can make this better for you. It's a gigantic machine, and they make movies at a certain size." Now, Russell, who did declare that he didn't want to make any comments to what anybody else might have said or what their experience was, also pointed out that he has experience with superhero films, having starred in DC's Man of Steel and Marvel's Thor: Love and Thunder. He's also in Sony and Marvel's upcoming movie Craven the Hunter, which is set in the same universe as Madam Web. If you're expecting this to be some kind of life-changing event, I just think you're here for the wrong reasons. Now, however, Russell did acknowledge that doing superhero movies can be challenging at times. You sometimes have to convince yourself a lot more than the internal mechanisms of your character. Now, I don't agree with him here, as Dakota wants to be a storyteller and be attached to her character, but it seems like she didn't have a lot to work with on Madam Web, and she was honest about that. I don't think she should be punished for that. And lastly is Ben Platt. Ben Platt began his acting career in musical theater as a child, as he is the son of Julie and Mark Platt. Now, his father is a film, television, and theater producer whose credits include Legally Blonde, Into the Woods, La La Land, and the musical Wicked. Now, Ben has been linked to the musical Dear Evan Hansen, where he played the lead role from 2015 to 2017. Then it was announced that a film version of Dear Evan Hansen would come out in 2021, and guess who was producing it? Ben's father, Mark. So of course, Ben once again took on the role of Evan Hansen, but once the trailer dropped, people called out Ben, who was 27 years old at the time, for playing a high schooler. Now, the movie tried to do CGI on him to make him look younger than he really was, but overall it was just really weird. People on the internet also said it was nepotism that got him the role. It could have been a perfect opportunity to give a new young actor a leading role that would change their lives, but Ben took it for himself, all because his father produced it. Now, Ben does not like discussing that he's a nepotism baby at all. A reporter asked the actor about being featured in New York Magazine's Nepo Baby issue. "I'm curious, what was your response to that, and what do you make of that whole discourse?" the reporter asked Ben. "We're gonna skip right over that if we can," he then responded. According to the Rolling Stone reporter, Ben's publicist then added, "If we could just focus on theater camp, that would be great, thank you." Yikes.